Hello and welcome back to the Under the Umbrella podcast. This is the 15th episode coming to you from the Big Green Umbrella Media Studio. I'm one of your hosts, Cody Williams with
Tammy Pearson, Iowa Living Magazine's editor.
Do you notice how I switched it up, the intro, so I didn't say we're back to the 15th episode because we obviously can't be back to the one we're doing right now.
We can come back to it.
We could do that. We've got some lovely weather outside. Tammy did just say something, fairly absurd.
What?
About fried chicken.
I never say anything absurd. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You don't.
Absurd. I can't say it.
But we were just talking about fried chicken, and I always get extra crispy. I would always get extra, even if it's tenders, if it's nuggets,
No.
if it's a bucket. If there's the option to get extra crispy, I'm getting extra crispy, especially wings.
Oh.
The best part's the breading.
No, the best part's the chicken. And extra crispy just makes it difficult to get to the chicken or to taste it. That's just no.
When was the last time that you personally fried chicken?
Oh.
I'm not saying that I'm an expert.
Years.
Don't you? I guess I would season the chicken and then also season the flour. But
Yes.
because I haven't fried chicken in a while either. But I don't know.
It did turn out pretty good, actually. I don't know why I haven't done it since, except that it's just a lot of mess.
It is a lot of mess. You got to get bowls for the egg and the
Yes.
flour, and then you got to.
Grease goes flying everywhere, and you have to clean your stove. And
Oh, yeah. Did I ever tell you I almost burned down one of my apartments?
No.
I wasn't making fried chicken, but I was making my own tortilla chips.
Oh.
And I thought I had let the oil cool enough.
Uh-oh.
And I took it over to the sink and some water, and I didn't catch fire or anything because it was cool enough, but not cool enough to not explode everywhere. It shot up, hit my ceiling, was jumping all over the place, got all over the floor.
Cody.
I know. Sometimes you got to do it.
You leave it sit for 3 or 4 days, and then you clean the pan.
Days.
Well, okay. I only cook once every,
Oh, Amanda'd kill me.
Well, yes. That's the benefit of living alone.
I'll come over and I'll cook and then I'll do the dishes.
And the dishes?
I'm just that kind of guy.
Gosh.
Well, let's hop into our news stories.
What's going on in the news?
Well, I tell you what, the cicadas are coming, Tammy.
Oh, they are.
Millions, trillions, I think, actually, across the country, but not here in Iowa. But we are going to be getting Brood 13, and they will be everywhere. These are 17-year cicadas, so they pop up every 17 years, but they're also coinciding with 13-year cicadas, Brood XIX. What number is that?
XIX?
Yeah.
That would be 19.
That's 19. What a ridiculous form for numbers.
I love Roman numerals.
They do look great, but XIII makes sense for 13. X is 10 and the I's are 1s.
Yes.
XIX
means 10, 1 from 10, 19.
That's absurd. But less absurd. Oh, I'm saying absurd a lot. There's going to be, millions of cicadas. They're going to be absolutely everywhere. And this is the first time that the two have overlapped since 1803. And the next time will be in 2037.
Wow.
People are calling it Cicada-geddon.
I was going to say, is there some sort of end of the earth type of forecast that goes along with this?
I guess not, but I can see why, especially if you think that this maybe happened like 500 years ago, there was an eclipse and then 1 trillion cicadas pulled out. People back in the day were probably losing their minds. I would probably start worshiping this guy if the sun disappeared and 1 trillion cicadas came out of the ground.
And they are so loud.
They're so loud.
How can little insects make so much noise? Of course, cicadas aren't really little. They're big insects, and they're ugly insects, but they are loud.
They are loud. At least they don't bite, you know. They don't do any of that. They won't hurt you.
No,
They're just annoying.
Let them have their fun. You know, they're under the ground years and years.
Right.
Let them enjoy the being out in the open.
If they were locusts, that'd be one thing. That would be absolutely terrifying. Because locusts do bite, don't they?
I don't know, but they do destroy and eat everything in their path.
That they do.
That's another interesting topic we'll have to discuss post the podcast.
Oh, locusts?
I watch a documentary on them. They're fascinating.
Really? There's one of my it's a comic book series that I read in middle school. It's called the Bone Books. You ever heard of those?
No.
I think there were 9 of them, and they're pretty like decently lengthy comic books. I couldn't explain to you the story behind them now because it's been so long since I read them, but I loved those books. Whenever there was a book fair, I knew the next one would be out, and I would beg my mom to let me get the next 3, please. I'm going to read them in a week. Please let me get them. Those books were fantastic. One of the main points was locusts were coming. Locusts were like the bad guys in the story. I'm going to have to find those. But that's all I have on cicadas. Did you notice that? I've got the articles pulled up this time. I've got my facts ready.
And I looked up the articles ahead of time, too. We are better prepared.
We're on top of it. Next up, the Iowa Senate passed a bill allowing teachers to allow them to acquire a permit to carry firearms in schools. That's House File 2586, and they had some amendments. They sent it back to the House. The Senate voted 30-14 on this, every Republican in favor, every Democrat against.
I'm afraid I've seen some teachers have a pretty bad day.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I shouldn't be laughing.
It's not funny.
The consequences of a teacher having a really bad day and having a gun nearby might not be good.
It might not be. I mean, that's the thought process. I've had so many teachers in school who don't even like kids. You wonder why they're even there, and you're going to arm them.
Because the kids burn them out.
That is true.
They loved children at one point.
That is true. It was never the young teachers. It was always teachers towards the end of their career, and you're just like, what are you even doing here? You don't like any of us.
I bet they weren't kindergarten teachers.
No, absolutely. It was all my high school or middle school teachers. And in middle school, we were pretty...
Middle school, yes.
Yeah, that is something. When I thought about if I wanted to go into teaching, I would never teach middle school. Those are the bravest people on the planet. They're braver than the Marines.
I did student teaching at a middle school. I survived, but I did not return.
I just could. I mean, I worked with elementary kids for like 5 years. I would work with them. I would teach high schoolers. I don't think I could bear. Maybe later in my life, I'll teach like high school writing, and I'll be a soccer coach. Maybe that's the end game.
Maybe
that'd be interesting. But yeah, we made light of that. But yeah, teachers are gonna have guns in your school. Maybe if they pass the permit. I hope that they have to go. Let's see here. Those who want to carry firearms will be required to go through a permit process that includes one-time in-person legal training that covers qualified immunity, emergency medical training, and communication training, as well as quarterly firearm training and annual live scenario training. The process would be approved by the Iowa Department of Public Safety.
Well, you just made me wonder, what is this qualified immunity? I'm going to have to research that.
Yeah. And I don't think you have to go through all of this if you just want to get a gun permit as a regular person. Obviously, carrying one in schools would be a lot different, but this sounds like it's a lot more requirements than it would be for just, you or me if we wanted to get a permit to carry.
As well it should be, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what else I worry about? If a teacher has a firearm and a student who is bigger, stronger, decides to try to wrestle him or her for it,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
That kind of scares me.
That I didn't even think about that. Because, yeah. Well, in totally unrelated news.
Yes, let's move on.
It's a good point that you bring up, but yeah,
on?
totally
Yeah,
unrelated news.
sure.
A man died in a shooting last night in the Ramada by Wyndham near the airport. Des Moines' second homicide this year, which I suppose we're in April. But
Heading into the season when there's more. I looked up. Did you? The number of homicides in 2023?
I did not look that up.
13 in Des Moines.
13 in Des Moines?
2022 was 21. So there was a dramatic decrease from 22 to 23, and I hope another dramatic decrease this year.
I hope so. We're a good couple months in if we've only had 2.
Yes.
I guess it's going to be getting warmer out. More people are going to be outside and
Yes.
active and whatnot. But that is what I had for news headlines. No dogs returning or anything fun like that. There's a trillion cicadas. Teachers will be able to require permits to carry guns in schools, and a man died in a shooting last night. There's your weekly news report from your...
I like that you're putting in an animal-related story each time. But anyway, what's happening?
Would you count cicadas as animals?
They're animals.
Those are insects, aren't they?
Insects are animals.
Are they?
There's animals and there's plants. Is it a plant? Or there are germs, I guess. Anyway.
I guess you could call it an animal.
What's happening in sports?
I'll tell you what's happening in sports, Tammy. Iowa Hawkeyes women's basketball lost the national title game to South Carolina this weekend, or last weekend, I should say. It drew 18 million average viewers, which was 4 million more than the men's game.
Woohoo!
That brings a smile to my face, doubly because Iowa lost and women's basketball got some great viewership.
Somebody locked the doors. They're going to come for you.
I was at Amanda's family's Easter, and they're from, Northeast Iowa, so they're all Hawkeye fans, understandably. And I did wear an Iowa State sweater on purpose to cause a little rift. And it was, I was just rooting for a good game. I wasn't rooting against Iowa, but I'm not going to spend all year rooting against them and then root for them in the national title game, the biggest game of the year. I'm not going to do it.
You are an Iowa traitor.
I am not an Iowa traitor.
You are. The state of Iowa. You've betrayed the state.
That cuts deep,
Well,
I support, and the main thing I was very happy for, and there's absolutely no denying that Caitlin Clark is a fantastic basketball player, probably the best women's college basketball player we've ever seen, and she's done an amazing job of getting that sport more coverage, more funding from the NCAA. Done a fantastic job.
Absolutely. The added attention on women's basketball is wonderful.
It's good because they play great basketball. They play really nice basketball. They tend to be better shooters also. It's good time. It's good stuff. And Caitlin Clark's out. Audi Crooks at Iowa State. She's going to have a great career. It's just they're always there. They're always there. One thing I found interesting, this is a little bit off topic from Iowa basketball, but I'll go quick. I believe it's the top 5 women's high school recruits from 2020. So that's the class that Caitlin Clark is in. I think that same 5 are projected to be the first 5 drafted in the WNBA coming up this year. You want to talk about living up to the hype. I mean, they sure did, and then some.
Terrific. Absolutely
terrific. And Iowa, rightly so, will be retiring Caitlin Clark's jersey, number 22. That'll be up in the rafters at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Maybe that'll give that bland stadium some character. Bless their hearts. But that's good. And Lolo Jones, speaking of Hall of Fames and inductions, Lolo Jones is being inducted into the Drake Relays Hall of Fame, and she will be running on the track for the first time in over a decade. She'll be running in the 100-meter Invitational. That is fun. That is fun stuff. I think she was blowing up like in the Olympics around the first time that I was watching the Olympics growing up. And to hear, that she's from West Des Moines just feels cool.
That is.
Just feels nice. Same with Shawn Johnson. She was around that time. I think Shawn Johnson was a little bit later, but it always just felt warm and fuzzy as an Iowan to support other Iowans, in major
That's
sport.
what we do. That's what we do.
But that's really cool. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Lolo Jones will be back at the Drake Relays this year.
Great.
Mm-hmm. That's all I had for sports news.
Well, what's next?
Tell you what's next? There's entertainment news, that's for sure. Sleepy Hollow will be reopening this season. They've been closed for the past 2, I believe. Not their, Halloween park or the Renaissance fairs, but the sports park is back open. Starting Memorial Day, you can sled on the new Snowflex Hill, the largest all-weather tubing hill in the world. That is yet another one of those things where if someone looked it up, if they were just like, I wonder where the largest all-weather tubing hill in the world is, and you just go, it's in Iowa. I feel like there's so many of those things.
That is fun.
That's exciting. You're going to go tubing, Tammy?
I've been tubing once. I don't care to discuss it.
All right, we'll move swiftly on from that. But that'll be fun. That'll be fun. That'll be from the reports that I read from Sleepy Hollow. That'll be open for the majority of the year. There will be some times where it's not open, but the vast majority of the year, you'll be able to go tubing there.
And is the Snowflex Hill, when you land on it, is it softer than snow?
It's supposed to be comparable.
It's
supposed to be comparable.
Pillowy.
Yeah. It'll probably have a little bounce to it, maybe.
Oh, that would make a good sight.
I'll have to try that out when it's open.
I'll take pictures.
Pass more of me just bouncing out of the tube. Monkey Man is out in theaters now. It's receiving great reviews from watchers and critics alike. It's kind of like a John Wick style movie. If you ever watched one of those, Tammy.
Oh, love them.
Mm-hmm.
Love them.
Amanda and I are going to go find a time probably this weekend to watch Monkey Man.
Let me know.
You should too.
Let me know.
And eventually it'll be on streaming, I'm sure. And in restaurant news, Table 128 is opening in downtown Des Moines by the end of April. Looks like a fancy schmancy restaurant. They had some pretty highbrow looking items from the article that I looked at. Braised short ribs, fancy cocktails, etc., etc. Used to be open in Clive, and then they closed after a dispute with the landlord at that location, and now they'll be opening in downtown Des Moines.
Fancy schmancy, is that what you said?
Fancy schmancy.
Oh, that's a good restaurant.
But that should be nice. If you're looking for a nice fancy place to take a date, take yourself, take the family, take your mom.
Oh, Mother's Day will be coming up.
Mother's Day is coming up.
Yes,
I
get
need to remember
reservations
that.
for Mom.
Yeah, get her a nice treat. Get her a nice dinner. So, Tammy.
Yes.
Tonight, Lil Wayne is going to be at Wells Fargo Arena.
Whoa.
Which made me think of what your favorite concert might have been of all time. Anyone that you've been to.
Oh, my.
Because I know we talked about what our dream acts would be at the state fair, but one that you've actually been to that just sticks out that you absolutely loved.
Neil Diamond put on a wonderful, wonderful concert, not only because he is wonderful and his music is wonderful, but I mean lights and pictures and, it was just incredible. I would have to say that maybe that was my favorite.
Neil, where'd you see that at?
Hilton Coliseum.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
In the Coliseum.
Yeah. It was great.
Oh, that's a great time. Neil Diamond. I don't think I know any Neil Diamond songs off the top of my head.
Oh, boy. And your favorite?
My favorite, I haven't been to too many concerts, to be honest. It's something I'm trying to rectify in my life now. I think Hinterland as a whole last year was a ton of fun.
Oh.
But if I had to pick out one performance from the whole weekend, it was probably Wallows. They're one of my favorite bands. Wallows or Noah Kahan from that weekend. Wallows has one of my favorite songs ever, Remember When. And to see that live and, outside it was raining and, it was just like it stopped raining and then the sun would shine. And that was some of the most fun I've ever had at that concert.
It's a great venue, isn't it?
Oh my God, I love it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to the part in front of the stage is just like a big concrete slab, but it's not even. It's like like this side on the left is even, and then there's like a little entryway for like photographers or like for the artists if they want to hop down and run between the crowd. There's, it's barricaded off. On the right side, it's like tilted down, and it's a little uncomfortable to stand on if you're going to be standing there like I was with my friend for 6 hours. It's a little uncomfortable.
That would be.
I think they should get rid of that. And, well, if it's just grass, then it'll get muddy. And
Well, next time you just wear one shoe, the left shoe with a higher heel.
even yourself out.
And you'll be ready.
But, yeah, love a good concert. And I'll be going to Greta Van Fleet next month.
Oh.
That'll be a good time. But, yeah, trying to go to more concerts. And in Des Moines, there's going to be plenty of them this summer. Stay tuned for next month's Cityview to see a whole gaggle of them.
Oh, arts and entertainment next month.
Arts and entertainment next month. Plenty of music to go around, and I'm going to try to hit a bunch of them. There's going to be some big names coming this summer and a lot of fun acts. But I was just curious. We didn't have to go too far on that, but Neil Diamond at Hilton Coliseum, that was probably a great one.
I also saw Billy Joel there.
Ooh.
Well, I've seen several there. But Billy Joel, I was afraid it was going to be a bad concert because we were behind a stage and almost behind a very large pole. But it turned out that his piano was right there on that end of the stage, and we were literally looking straight down at him playing the piano. And that was, I think, we had the best seats in the house.
That's special. That's a special time.
That was.
Well, moving on from that.
What else is coming up?
Yeah, I'll tell you what else is coming up. Obviously, Lil Wayne is at Wells Fargo Arena tonight. The Middle of the Map Tattoo Convention will be going on this entire weekend at Hy-Vee Hall. That looks like a ton of fun. I remember one of the guys I interviewed for a Cityview story several months ago. He told me about it. I had no idea that it was coming, and he said it's coming up in April. Keep your eye out for it. And here it is. Looks like a ton of fun. Contests, exhibitions should be a great time. If you're looking for some excitement, Monster Jam is also on Saturday, of course, at Wells Fargo Arena, Monster Jam. And there's a Des Moines vintage clothing market at the Picker Nose on Saturday as well. If you're not in the mood to watch monster trucks, go get yourself some vintage clothing at the Picker Nose.
I'm always up for a Monster Jam.
You're always up for a Monster Jam? I believe that. But that's all. Tammy, you got anything else?
No, I don't.
That's all I've got.
I think but yeah, that's plenty.
That's a good one.
And a variety. So there's got to be something in there for people to enjoy.
And if they don't, they can see me. Well, I'm going to say thank you to everybody for listening to the Big Green Umbrella Media podcast, the Under the Umbrella podcast from Big Green Umbrella Media. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. You can read Cityview stories at www.dmcityview.com and subscribe to the Daily Umbrella at www.thedailyumbrella.com/subscribe. If you have a story suggestion or would like to make a comment, you can send those to editor@dmcityview.com. Thank you and goodbye.